is Mummy crying? I don't know, son. I honestly do not know. But she does it at least 4 more times during this movie. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to this special review of Ethel Ernest. Before we begin, I must apologise for any background noise, as I've got one of my windows and my door open, because as to quote the weatherman from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, it is hot. As in, very hot outside. It's about 27 degrees, tomorrow it's going to be 28. It's the 17th of June today, at time recording. So, yes. Ethel Ernest. Now, this came out, talk about one of the hotter times of the year. We go back talking about something that came out in December 2016, one of the colder months. I did not see this when it came out in December 2016 on BBC One. It's not a cinema one, otherwise, if I did see it at the cinema, I would have put it on my 2016 or 17 ranking list. Or it would have been reviewed earlier. I kind of did think about reviewing it, but I just didn't think about it. But then I thought I could do it as well as the King Charles III one, which I have recorded. It came out last month, and I've recorded it, so I'll watch it soon. And then I'll review it. Probably later in the week I'll watch it, and then the review will come later. This one, again, I didn't see it when it came out, nor did I see the signed repeat on BBC Two. I was thinking of recording it and watch afterwards, but then I noticed it was sign language, so I thought, no. But I was still curious throughout January, so I decided to go and look on BBC iPlayer about halfway towards the end of January. And it was like the last day on BBC iPlayer, just before it came off. And so I watched it, and I loved it. Simple as that. I loved it. Like Conjuring 2 and later La La Land, it was kind of a surprise. What else was a surprise? Wonder Woman was a surprise, but not as the surprise of La La Land and Conjuring 2. I absolutely loved this film, this animated film. And wow. The animation is great, to start with. The acting is brilliant. Has a very heartfelt story. Even it's based on true events of Raymond Briggs. Yeah, that's his name, Raymond Briggs, the artist and story author. He did this book, graphic novel, about his parents, and they made it into this hour-and-a-half-ish long film on BBC One. Basically, the story is a milkman named Ernest and a maid named Ethel kind of see each other every now and again. It's quite this one week things are happening as they see each other from afar. Ethel's a maid at this house and Ernest is delivering milk there every day. And then on the Friday he asks her out. As he keeps seeing her from the window, he decides to ask her out, and they go to the pictures. And then he offers her to go to a date to go to the dance he's going to. I'm sorry, I'm muddling. Eventually they decide to get married, so Ethel has to quit her job, much to her employer's disappointment. And I say disappointment, sadden. I mean, directly talking to her, they don't seem sad or disappointed, but from afar you then see their saddened faces. Much to Ernest's disgust. Well, not disgust, just No, that's not quite right. It's... No, serves them right. When Ethel's like, they can't cope with that. I'm worried. Yeah, so after that, they get married. And then they... But because Ethel is in her 30s at the time, having more children at this later age means that it's more likely she would die younger. So 38, 40s, 30s, 40s. Rather, even though they wanted a proper family, but as the doctor says, more children, no more wife. So they just have to stick with the one child that they have, who just by so happens a chance to be Raymond Briggs. Yeah, that's right, this is Raymond, and throughout the rest of the film we'll see how the relationship between not just the parents, but also between them and with their son, as rises from childhood to adulthood. So they live a happy life with Raymond, although this one time Ethel does start crying for no reason whatsoever, or a reason I've forgotten. Don't worry, she'll only do it another 4 times. This time I know what... those times I know what reasons those are, but she'll do it at least another 4 times, and... Yeah, she does it at least 5 times. Ethel I don't know if this actually happened in the film. She probably... Well, not in the film, in real life. She probably did it more, but this was just the 5 main times. She might have done it more, but these 5 times I remember, oh my goodness, she just breaks down crying, and sometimes she just doesn't stop for a bit. Okay, the next one of these two is just as we're coming into the Second World War section. But as we're going along, Ernest is reading all about Hitler and his book coming, and then him invading, and it's like, oh, that's nice. And Ernest is like, huh? It's like he knows that she doesn't know what's actually going on. And then the war starts. So Neville Chamberlain announces World War II on the radio, and they have to send Raymond away to the countryside to be safe. This is the second time Ethel breaks down because she doesn't want to send him away, and neither does Ernest, but he knows it's the best way to keep him safe. And that's what they do, they have to keep him safe. And this is where we come to the PG section of the film. The film's a PG in the UK and Ireland, and this is probably the bit where it becomes PG. Rather than the rest of the film, which is pretty much U. This bit is the Second World War horrors, and my goodness, this is actually quite a disturbing scene. If you've got younger children, this could be actually quite disturbing, as we see the horrors of war, and then there's this one point. You know, I was saying Ethel breaks down about 5 times in this film. Well, just after an incident where Ernest has become a firefighter, just after some voluntary work he's been doing trying to put out these fires, he then breaks down at one point because of the horrors he sees. The best way to treat this is to go and visit Raymond on his farm, and soon, countryside, and soon they bring him back just before the end of the war. They almost get attacked by a plane, but it's not long now. I think it's Wimbledon they're living in, so it's not as bad as central London, where Ernest went to put out the fires. So they almost get attacked by a plane, and then the war ends. Street party! Right, what happens next is how everything develops throughout the next couple of years post-war. So this is now post-war Britain, post-Second World War. So they're trying to adjust to life like that. Ernest is reading about ring roads and motorways and stuff, and Ethel's questioning it. And bypassed. This is Raymond is sent to a grammar school when he hits high school age, and for some reason he then breaks into the golf club trying to steal stuff, so he has to be brought back by the policeman. And this is where Ethel breaks down for the 3rd time, mostly, but she gets a bit cross as well beforehand, and Raymond also breaks down as well. Everyone's breaking down in this movie. I think this scene could have been cut, to be honest. I don't think if Raymond thought it was needed to show him being a bit naughty. But, to be honest, I thought we were supposed to be looking at him as in a good way. I guess this kind of shows he has faults, but I think it could have been cut. As could have been the next bit with the neighbour. But yeah, it's pretty sweet seeing all this, and then Raymond decides to go to art school, become an artist. Maybe Ethel breaks down here. I'm not sure. She might. I don't know. If she does, that makes 6. Later, Raymond meets this girl called Jean, not to be confused with Jean Grey, even though she might look a little bit like her, who doesn't speak much, and Ethel keeps constantly trying to brush down Raymond's hair with a brush because it looks a bit scruffy. And then Raymond reveals that to his mother that Jean is hyperschizophrenia, has that, which means they won't be able to have children. This is where Ethel breaks down for the 4th time because she wanted to be a granny. Whether Raymond actually did have children or adopted children at some point is unknown. If not, then the bloodline's kind of going to stop. Oh well. And then, not long afterwards, is the 5th breakdown scene, if there wasn't any others, aside from these 5. And that's when Ethel's crying about them getting married in a registry office. Instead of a church. Again, could have been cut. I don't know why she just thought churches would be a better place for marriage, but she doesn't have to go sobbing over it. Yeah, who did this adaptation? They obviously wanted to get everything in. Well, Payne and Jean seem to be happily together throughout the 50s and 60s. Well, actually the 50s was his childhood, 60s was where he becomes the adult, and it's coming into the 70s. I think they see the... Sorry about that. I think they see the moon landing in 69, but 1971 comes along, and then I'm not sure what happens to Ethel, but she starts to forget about Ernest. She's in hospital, she's dying, and then at some point she does sadly pass away. There is a touching moment where she gives Raymond the comb to straighten his hair, so that he does do that. And yeah, this is pretty much a sad moment. But it doesn't stop there, because Ernest is still alive, and only for a few months. He still puts the chair out for 2. He's talking to the cat, and then I think one day he suffers a heart attack. I think that's when he dies. So yeah, that's sad. And apparently it was only between months of each other, so say early 71 and late 71. Apparently Ethel was older, but within a few years as well, but that's not important. And Raymond reflects on planting a tree when he was younger in the garden, a pear tree, to Jean, who apparently, I didn't hear her say anything, but apparently she does have her voice credited. Maybe there's a few chuckles thrown in there. But yeah, sad and very touching end to the film, and I think it's once they've finished reflecting on the tree, that's when the film starts to end, and then the end credits have pictures of the life as well as the kind of a yellowy brown background. It's like the style of the animation similar to a drawing. So yeah, that's Ethel Ernest. It's a touching film. It can be sad. I think maybe those death scenes might help, along with the war scenes, push it up to a PG. But yeah, it's still a brilliant movie. It's very great. Loving the artwork of the animation, and the acting is fantastic, particularly from Ethel Bryn. Sorry, I can't pronounce the name. Ethel Bryn. The name will be down here somewhere. And Jim Broadbent, who I think is one of his best performances. I haven't heard much from Bertrand. But they do a brilliant job with what they've done. And they fit the characters perfectly, as does Luke Tweedy, as Raymond, or at least adult Raymond. But yeah, fantastic movie. The animators and filmmakers pulled out all the stops for this one, put their hearts into it, and made it really, really good, and it's just magnificent. The music has also helped get the feel of the film, and Paul McCartney's song at the end of the credits is just beautiful. Blink of an eye. I think the first minute or so is just instrumental. I think that's just at the end of the film, and then once we go into the credits, we'll have the song. The song's only about 3 minutes 19, including that instrumental first bit. And then, so the song's not really that long if you take out the instrumental at the start. But it works. It's just beautiful. It works. My God, this is just beautiful. I'm going to give Ethel Ernest a 10 out of 10.
I can see a shadow underneath the moon. Maybe a winter cloudburst heading this way soon. Heading this way soon.
Yeah, a few issues, but nothing to do with the production. I think it's more with the story, but to be honest, it's based on real life, so the only way you could have resolved it is to remove them. I don't think change is an option. That would be going against the source material and against what happens, so just maybe take out the stuff where Raymond's accused of being a thief. Well, I say accused, was, and also those other two scenes of Ethel crying, or at least the one with the registry office. That was just unnecessary. But yeah, it's a great film. It's really brilliant. It's really enjoyable. I love the small talk between the characters. Just everything works apart from the fact Ethel cries a lot. So yeah, it's a great film. And yeah, I urge you to, if you can find it online, it's not on YouTube, but there might be some websites. If you can find it, if not, get the DVD. It's brilliant. Maybe the BBC will decide to show it again at some point. And if they do, iPlayer they might put it back on iPlayer for a bit. And yeah, so if you can find it, I urge you to watch it. So yeah, thank you for watching. The next review will be Doctor Who. The Eaters of Light. That will be Series 10, Episode 10. And then we'll see about when the Charles III review comes along, because I've also got stuff for Universals. And I might be going back to the movies towards the end of the month to see Despicable Me 3 and Spider-Man Homecoming when they come out. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
In the blink of an eye, many songs have been sung, many lives have gone by. Shadow underneath the moon. Maybe a winter cloudburst heading this way soon. Heading this way soon.
I'll bring in slightly. Hold on. Sorry, me. Motherfucker. Motherfucker. Excuse me. Oh, that was all right. You motherfucker. He also did, Channel 4 did one of his stories, We're Going on a Bear Hunt. I think that's one of his, at least, for Christmas Eve. I think they repeated on Christmas Day and Boxing Day. That one, I think that one is better as a short story, as the half-hour long film, TV special. And I noticed that, I think at Stevenage, they're going to have a play on it. We're going on a bear hunt play. I don't know how long that's going to be, but if it's going to be longer than half an hour, then they're really stretching the story, like they did with this TV episode. But it was still pretty good. But Ethel Ernest, my goodness, this was just like, this one is, if Briggs was like, yeah, go and make this, go and make that. He obviously had more passion for this one, and that's what he probably told the guys to make it as good as possible, whilst the other ones just said, yeah, just make it good. Of course, they probably asked both of them to make them as good as possible, but this one probably even more so as a tribute. But whatever happened, this one just turned out to be even better. Maybe the hour 26 runtime just fits the story better than half hour one, even for Going on a Bear Hunt, which I think would have been better as 15, maybe 20 minutes. It's Channel 4 actually, it'd probably be 25 minutes to be honest. But it's still slightly stretched out. I think it would have worked as 15 and just stuck to the story. I mean, you could read that story in about 5 minutes. But this one is probably slightly longer to read, so it needs a slightly longer film to tell everything. Enough with all that.